So let's have a little chat, shall we? Let's have a little occult chat. This is your host, The Occult View. Recently I have really been getting into making my shorter videos. And my shorter videos, you can say that's the love and light side of me. My longer videos, that is the darker side of me. We have to accept both sides of ourselves. Let me say that first. So, if you're someone who watches my shorter videos and then you come to one of my longer videos and you hear me ranting about something, well, what you have to understand as a spiritual being, we all have light side and we have the darker side. When I make my longer videos, that is me tapping more into my darker side. When I do the shorter videos where I'm preaching peace and not preaching, but I'm, just encouraging peace and positivity, that is the lighter side of me. We all have different sides. We're all made up of duality. So, or dualities, not just two sides. We have multiple sides of us. So, don't feel a ways if you hear me in one video cursing somebody, and then in the other video you hear me saying, speaking peace and stuff like that. Because that, if we're truly being honest with ourselves, and a lot of people are not honest with themselves, and I'm about to get into that right now. A lot of people are not honest with themselves. They live in a constant illusion of self deception. But if you're honest with yourself, you will know that that is part of who we are. We have a darker side and we have a lighter side. My shorter videos, that's the light side of me. The longer videos, that's the darker side of me. You can accept me for who I am, or you don't have to accept me at all. Okay? You don't. So with that being said, I just wanted to say that, because I'm getting ready to do a little bit of a rant in this video, and I want to talk about some things that I know may be uncomfortable for a lot of people, but that is what the occult is all about. The occult is about bringing what's hidden in the dark into the light. The occult has many different meanings. It can be esoteric knowledge, or it can be it could be, everyday life that we're dealing with. There is a cult in everyday life. And that's what I really wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about this right here. I have been living in a challenging situation for the past 6 years. Not with my partner. Me and him have not been together for 6 years, living together. We've known each other for 13, but we just started living together a couple of years ago. But that's not what I'm talking about. Um, I live in a building that I don't like. I live in an apartment building that I really don't like. And I don't like it because it's not really because of the management. I really don't like the management either. But it is because of the tenants that live in this building. They are some of the most disgusting and some of the most horrible they're the most horrible group of people that I have ever lived around in my life. They are the most horrible group of people that I've lived around in my life. And some of them are younger, some of them are older, but some of them are older and you would expect them to really, really have more wisdom and respect and boundaries for other people than they do. Let's really talk about it, okay? There's a lesbian couple that lives in my building. Nobody likes them. And the reason that nobody really likes them, some people don't like them because they are lesbian, but that's their prerogative. Some people don't like them for various reasons. Of course, I don't dislike them because they're lesbian. That's not why I dislike them. I dislike them because they are ratchet They are ratchet, disgusting people. They have no respect for the people that live around them. And these are not young women. These are women 65 plus. Okay? One of these women, she lived in, I'm sorry, not lived. One of these women, she lived here once before with her husband. They moved out. He died. Then she moved back into the building. Another woman moves into the building in the meantime who's a lesbian, who I knew from the jump had problems. I knew that this woman had problems. I knew she had problems. And when I see crazy, I go the other way. I don't ask, are you really crazy? When I see crazy, I go the other way. I don't ask any questions. And I knew that this bitch was crazy. I knew she was crazy. So the other woman that was married to a man, she and this woman, they done hooked up. And now they've gotten married. No problem. I ain't got no issue with that. But now that they've gotten married, they expect all of this validation from other people in the building. They're looking for people to accept them. They're looking for people to validate them. And we all know, those of us who are gay and lesbian, who, the ones that watch me, and even the straight people that watch me, real people and people that are secure, it doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is, people that are secure within their own being don't give a rat's patootie or a rat's ass who accepts them and who doesn't accept them. No, people don't accept you not because you're a lesbian. Most of the people don't accept them because of their behavioral patterns, because they just some ain't shit ass bitches. Let me just be honest. They some ain't shit ass bitches. And I wish that they would do something where it would get them evicted. I'm sorry, I do. I told y'all this is the darker side of me. I have a light side and a dark side. But the only reason I say that is because of who these people are. They don't mind their business. They try to be bullies in the building. Not bullying me because they know better. But if I don't like you, I don't like you. They've tried to invite me to parties. I never come. They tried to invite me to their wedding. I did not come. I did not go. I did not support them, and I will not support them. Now, the woman who was married to a man, the one that I mentioned earlier, who lived here once before, then she moved out and then came back and married this woman, that one. Now, what I find interesting about her, she's an interesting character. And the reason she's an interesting character is because she used to work for the American Red Cross. And I think I talked about her once before. And when she worked for the American Red Cross, she worked in the department that distributed gift cards to the victims of Hurricane Katrina. She was working for the American Red Cross around that time. Okay? Sipping some water. So, I don't care what nobody say. Tap water is the best water. It tastes better than that bottle shit. But that's just me personally. The water that comes from the earth, it tastes alive. Maybe that's why motherfuckers are so fucking crazy now, because they keep drinking all that dead water, that dead fake ass water in that plucking fucking plastic cancerous damn bottles. I'm guilty of it too, child, so it is what it is. But water that comes from the earth tastes amazing, and I don't care what nobody say. But anyway, so this woman used to work for the American Red Cross. She ended up being fired because she was stealing gift cards. She probably wasn't alone. She was stealing gift cards during Hurricane Katrina, gift cards she was supposed to be distributing to the victims of Hurricane Katrina, most of whom were black. And she's black as well. So when I hear this bitch talking about Black Lives Matter, when I hear her talking about Black Lives Matter and how white people do black people, I'm looking at this bitch like she's fucking crazy. So it's okay for you to be a predator towards black people. It's okay for you to be a predator towards your own people per se. But you want to call out white people for racism and injustice. But what makes you any fucking different? You were stealing from a very vulnerable group of people at that time. And suffices to say, a lot of those people have still not reconnected with their families after Hurricane Katrina, from what I understand. A lot of those people are still displaced after Hurricane Katrina. And she's partially at fault for that. And my question is, why isn't that bitch in jail? Why isn't she in jail? And the only reason I'm going off on her like that, because she lives in this building. She thinks that she can do what she want to do. You know, black people think that they can just do whatever they want to do to other people. They think that they don't have to follow rules and regulations. They think I can just do what I want to do. That's black people's mentality. I can do what I want to do. I can disturb who I want to disturb. I don't care. And then if someone who is non-black, let's say a white person, says to them, hey, listen, it's 12 o'clock at night or it's after 8. I can hear the bass because in most places, in most states, there is a noise ordinance. Okay? Neighborhoods are not supposed to be full of chaos. Neighborhoods are not supposed to be people blasting their radios in their car and you can hear the bass in your house. That's not how neighborhoods are supposed to be. But we are living around a bunch of low-level, I'm going to say low-level demonic entities. Very low-level demonic entities. That's what I'm going to say. Neighborhoods are supposed to be peaceful. Where you live, you are supposed to have peace of mind. But black people think that they can just do whatever they want to do. So if a white person or a non-black person says, hey, listen, there's a noise ordinance, and you're disturbing the peace. And then what will end up happening? They'll start recording that person, and then they will destroy that person's life, even when that person is telling the truth. Even when that person is not telling any lies, they will destroy that person's life. And I'm not supporting or, dismissing racism, of course. I'm not doing that. But God damn it, everything is not racism. It is not racism if a white person asks a black person to have respect for the people that you live around. And to have some type of boundaries for the neighborhood that you live in. Meaning, don't blast your radio so the entire neighborhood can hear it. I don't want to hear your fucking music. And these two bitches are down the hall now having a Christmas party, blasting their fucking radio, and they live all the way down the hall from me. They live about 4 doors down from me, but I can hear the bass in their fucking radio. But they can do what they want to do, right? And then people wonder why they end up getting work done on them. They wonder why. They wonder why they're walking around and nothing is working out for them. Think about what you're doing to people. Think about the people that you are offending. Think about the people that you are disturbing for no reason. Then you wonder why you in and out of the hospital. You wonder why you can't keep no money in your motherfucking pocket. But they just don't get it. Think about the people that you are offending. That's right, you don't think. You don't think. Because you don't care. Because you can do what you want to do. Yeah, you can do what you want to do. But there's always consequences for that, my dear. These two bitches, they don't have any respect for anybody. They don't even have any respect for themselves. The one that worked for the Red Cross, that one, she marries this one, and then they run around the building begging people for celery, onions, flour, eggs, oil, sugar. How the fuck you marry somebody and between the two of you now, because most lesbians I know and most of the lesbians that I've seen, they making money and everything ain't about money. But most of the time, most lesbians that I know, they got some money in their pocket. And they not begging anybody for anything like that. But these two broke back struggle bitches down the hall, these two motherfuckers, they run around they don't knock at my door, they know better. But they run around asking people for onions and celery and all this other bullshit, right? And then we have to adjust to their fucked up behavioral patterns, making noise. They're up and down the hall all day, up and down the stairwell all day long. They're supposed to be married, but one of them keeps an apartment on the floor that I live on, and the other bitch keeps her apartment upstairs. How are you married? What type of scam are you running? What type of scam are you running? You're begging people in the building for food, and you mean to tell me that between the two of you, you cannot come up with a piece of celery or an onion, but you got to beg other people for it? Then the one that used to work for the American Red Cross, she has a service dog, claiming that she needs a service dog. Most people that I know that have service dogs, they're either blind or they're totally incapacitated. There's nothing wrong with that bitch. And I am very sensitive to people who really do need service dogs. No, she just wants to do what she wants to do. She wanted to bypass having to pay a deposit for an animal, so she went to the doctor and lied and said she needed a companion or a service dog. But there's nothing wrong with her. I know that there are people who really need service dogs, so this is no way, in any way, any disrespect to anyone who actually needs one. But that bitch don't need one. She just want to do what she want to do. And then they wonder why they can't even afford to buy no motherfucking celery. They wonder why. They wonder why they're not blessed. And then on top of that, check this out. These are two lesbians, but they have Christian paraphernalia all over their door. You know, most lesbians and gay people that I know, they mind their business and they don't bother people. But those two bitches have the energy and the spirit of Yahweh on them. And I can feel it. And that's why I don't fuck with them. See, they don't really like me like that, and I understand that. But they don't like me because they thought by me being another gay person in the building that I would welcome them with open arms. But I don't welcome trash. I don't welcome motherfucking trash. And the one that worked for the American Red Cross, you married down. How you gonna marry a bitch that can't even afford to feed you? You're running around the building asking other people for food. You married down. You married a bum bitch. Let's just call it what it is. She married a dishonorable bum bitch. Let's just be honest. And they really think that that bullshit gonna last? It's not gonna last. It's not gonna last. I know it's not. Their marriage is doomed. It's not going to last. There are red flags all over that marriage. I personally don't think that they're really married. I think it's all a sham and a scam. But the reason that I'm talking about this is because we seem to live in a culture, and I'm not going down the governmental conspiracy theory well, but I have to look at this. I have to look at this. I have to really ask questions. Is the government sponsoring these types of people? Because I don't understand, how do you work for the American Red Cross, steal from vulnerable people, and you still are here? You are still able to do the things that you want to do? Why isn't that bitch in jail for stealing from vulnerable people, from the most vulnerable people who needed those gift cards, and she stole them? Why isn't that bitch in jail? So that is why I'm asking, is this government sponsored? Does the government put these people in place to torment and to bring chaos into communities? Because that's what I think that's what I'm thinking. Let me give you another example. And this is a little close to home. And listen, I don't care if one of my relatives hear this bullshit. It is what the fuck it is, because I can say what the fuck I want to. Okay? And you can call me and we can duke it out later. Whatever. All right. A relative of mine, I'm not related to him by blood, but by marriage, recently got out of jail. Now, this man unalived 3 people, including a pregnant woman, back in the early 90s. I didn't know. I was a child. He's older than me. He's 48. So he's been in jail for 31 years. He did this when he was 17 years old. He unalived 3 people, including a pregnant woman. He just got out of jail. He's 48 years old. He can still go on to live another 20 or 30 years. My question is, if that pregnant woman cannot live, if her baby cannot live, why is that motherfucker out of jail? And yes, he's somebody that I'm related to distantly, but I don't know him like that. Why is he out of jail? And I know what some people are going to say. Well, he did 31 years, so his victims can't come back. That mother and her baby can't come back. Why is he out of jail? What type of deals is the government making with these types of people? Because usually what ends up happening is these types of people, they end up committing crimes again and again. Then he'll get out. And they'll give him, put him into job training and give him better jobs than they would anybody else. And then people go around talking about, well, the system is hard on black people and hard on the black man. Where, bitch? Where? Where? And this ain't no disrespect, but I'm asking questions because somebody like him could run across your mother or your daughter or your child or your brother and do them harm. because we thought he would never see the outside world again. And if he killed 3 people, in my opinion, he should not. Now, if it was self-defense, which it was not, but I'm saying just in another example, if someone kills someone in self-defense, that's different. But he killed 3 people, including a pregnant woman. That should be automatically life, because that baby will never get to know what it's like to live. So why is that man out of jail? Why is he out of jail? Going back to the thief from the American Red Cross, why is that bitch not in jail? She stole from probably mainly women and children and babies who were black. But then I hear her sitting around here talking about Black Lives Matter and how black people need to stick together and all this old other bullshit. Bitch, what the fuck are you talking about? And I'm going in on her like that because she is a predator to black people. She's a thief, number one. Do you know how many people were affected by Hurricane Katrina? Now the bitch is slamming their fucking door down the hall. This is all they do all fucking day. And this is the type of shit that we're talking about. This is the type of shit that they say matters. We're supposed to put up with this type of shit. And these are not young people. The two bitches I'm talking about, they're not young. They Bigfoot women. That means grown women. Why isn't she in jail? I'm going to keep asking that question. Why is she able to walk around free? Why is that distant relative of mine, why is he out of jail? He should have never gotten out for those crimes he committed. So what are they doing in these in the jails now? What is the government really doing? And again, I don't want to go down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole, but what is really going on? Because it seems like justice never gets served. See, that is why I believe in divine justice. And that is why I believe in doing magic and witchcraft and voodoo or whatever you want to call it. That's why I believe in doing that. Because when the physical justice system does not work, you can tap into another justice system to deal with people like this bitch down the hall and her motherfucking wife, who are disturbing people as I'm speaking right now by blasting their radio with bass in it at 9 o'clock at fucking night. Because they have no respect for anyone, but they want everyone to have respect for them. Isn't that always the case with these low-level devils? They want everyone to respect them. They want everyone to respect their boundaries, but they don't want to give anyone any respect, and they don't want to respect anyone else's boundaries. They don't. And it's not just them. It's not just them, and it's a bigger picture. Because what I want to understand is why she ain't in jail for stealing those gift cards and for stealing from the victims of Hurricane Katrina, who are still not made whole from what happened in 2005. And chances are that bitch was stealing food off of the table for mothers, babies, and their fucking children. Because from what I understand, a lot of those gift cards went to a lot of mothers of children and babies who were affected by Hurricane Katrina. And then these two bitches wonder why they can barely feed themselves because you have a curse on you. That is why. But this is the type of world that we live in. These types of behaviors are rewarded by the government and by the system and by the policing system. The police don't even address, or the laws, rather, not the police per se, but the laws don't even address people like this. Because if it did, that bitch would be in jail, and that distant relative of mine, he would still be in jail. He should have never got out. 31 years was not long enough for killing 3 people, and including a pregnant woman and her baby. And now he's out of jail. You tell me that that's unreal. You tell me that that's not unreal. Then the same woman down the hall, the one that worked for the American Red Cross. See, the one that worked for the American Red Cross, I really don't have too much of an issue with her, but I don't like her wife. Her wife is the problem. Because that bitch tries to be a bully. I knew the bitch was crazy when I first met her. I knew she was crazy, and when I see crazy, I go the other motherfucking way. But the other one that worked for the American Red Cross, her children are not doing well. Her children are struggling. And she has grown children in their 40s. Her grandchildren are struggling. You live in an apartment and you can't even provide a house. You can't even get a house where you can rent, that you can rent and have multiple rooms. You got to sneak your granddaughter and your daughter up in your apartment on the other floor, not the one down, not the apartment that you live in with your wife, not her apartment, but your apartment. You got to sneak your grandson, your granddaughter, and your daughter up in your fucking apartment because you did all of this fucked up ass shit and you got karma for it, and now it's affecting your children. Her daughter is practically homeless. Her daughter's daughter is practically homeless. Her grandson was practically homeless. It's just struggle across the board. And a lot of it stems from her actions. You stole money from women and babies primarily. I'm sure there was some men, that would do those cards too, but I think they were giving those primarily to a lot of women with babies. You stole money and food out of the mouths of vulnerable people that really needed it. And then you wonder why your life is deteriorating the way that it is. Your marriage to that individual, your marriage to that individual was not a holy matrimony. It was a sign of the end of time. And I don't mean biblically. It's the sign of the end of their time. Those are some ain't shit ass bitches. And that is why her family is struggling, because of her. and her curses. And now they're affecting her children. That is why they're always on the go. That is why they got to turn their music up really loud to keep them, so them demons won't torment them. That is why they can't even have an egg or a piece of celery in their house between the two of them. Now, I know that it's hard out here. It's hard for everybody. Okay? It's hard out here. Shit, a goddamn jar of relish, a Mount Olivet relish, cost damn near $5 in the grocery store. So I know it's hard out here, especially if you're a single mother raising children. So this ain't no shot at anybody that's really having a hard time, but I'm talking about these two because they beg, they have no respect for anyone, and they think that they own this building and they try to be bullies. And then this one that works for the American Red Cross, she runs around talking about how Black Lives Matter when, bitch, you have done everything in your power to help destroy Black lives, especially the lives of Black women and Black children. You stole from them. But you want to say the white man is the devil. Just like with that dentist who did what he did. Well, he didn't really do anything to me. I did more to him than he did to me. Trust me. And I got what I wanted, and I'm going to get more. But isn't it interesting that I'm not a minority. Let me be clear. I don't consider myself no minority. I ain't no motherfucking minority. But isn't it interesting that as so-called minorities, let me just say that for laymen, isn't it interesting as so-called minorities, most of the people that cause us problems are other minorities? Like as a Black person, most of the people who have been hateful and disgusting and nasty towards me have been other people of color, whether they be Indian, whether they be other Black people, African Black people. I never had too many issues with Caribbean Black people, but Ethiopian Black people, Asians, some Mexicans and some Latinos, but for the most part, I've never really had a lot of issues with them. Dominicans are cool. I never had no issues with Dominicans. They've always been cool with me. Panamanians, always been cool with me. But for the most part, most of the problems that we have had, that I've had, most of the people that have tried to destroy me, most of the people who have disturbed my peace have been other Black people. Because they simply don't care about anyone but themselves. That is why don't call me brother. I ain't your brother. And I don't mean, and let me be clear when I say that, I don't mean that in the context of I don't understand the issues that Black people have had in this country. I'm not saying it like that. But don't call me brother. Don't call me brother when you've done everything in your power to destroy other Black people. Don't call me my friend when you've done everything in your power to be racist and destructive towards other groups of people. And while minorities are always complaining about, not having enough rights and people treating them unfairly, but then you get the rights and then you want to turn around and treat other people unfairly, and you think that you can get away with that? Or you think you're supposed to get away with that? But that's because we live in the culture of, I can do what I want to do. Yeah, you can. You can do what you want to do. You're right. You can do what you want to do until somebody does it to you. And then it's a problem. Now the bitches turned the music off. About time. People are trying to have a quiet Christmas, trying to be peaceful. Nobody, I don't have an issue with people playing their music. I don't have an issue with that. But I don't want to hear your music. I don't want to hear that when you live 5 apartments down from me. I think they turned it back on. And then tomorrow you won't see them because they've been down there getting drunk, probably getting high, smoking, and all that other shit, knowing that they can't handle it because they're getting too old for that. But they're trying to hold on to what's left of their pathetic existence. If you want your granddaughter, your daughter, and all of these people to live with you, then why don't you go and get a house? That's right, you can't manifest that because you owe a debt to those spirits that you stole from. Those people's ancestors set them up to get those gift cards to help them, and you stole it from them. And you think you're going to get away with that. Miss Thompson, that's what I'm going to call her, Miss Thompson. You think you're going to get away with that type of thievery. But you know, they can do what they want to do. They can do what they want to do without any consequences. And that's the type of culture that we live in. And that is why I asked the question earlier, is the government behind this? Is the government flooding communities with criminals on purpose to cause harm? Are we in the purge? Because let me tell you something. My neighborhood used to be quiet. Now all of a sudden I am hearing gunfight. Last night on Christmas Eve. Let me tell you what happened. All night I heard gunfire and shooting like there was a war going on outside my window. Not directly, but within the surrounding area. I heard distant gunshots and I didn't know where they were coming from. Some of them sounded like semi-automatic weapons. It was like a war was going on outside. And I was like, this isn't New Year's Eve, it's Christmas Eve. Since when on Christmas Eve did people start acting like that? Then when I went to sleep, when I finally was able to go to sleep, spirit came to me in my sleep. I could not sleep. And that's because spirits were trying to show me something. Spirit was trying to show me that they was out there doing a ritual. That was a blood sacrifice ritual that they were doing on Christmas Eve. And I'm not certain if it was black people or not. I think it was Mexicans and Latins. Maybe sprinkled in with a couple of blacks. I don't know. And that's no disrespect to Mexicans and Latins. No disrespect. So I don't want you all to get mad. I'm not making no derogatory claims against you, but I'm just saying this area mainly where I live at has a lot of Mexicans and Latinos now. So I'm not certain if it was black or not. It probably was though. It probably was though. But since when on Christmas Eve do people shoot their guns? I thought that was reserved for New Year's Eve or for New Year's. So is the government letting out all of these criminals and letting them flood communities that were once peaceful? and they're trying to push people out? Is that what's really happening? I'm just asking questions. But we live in an age where you can do what you want to do. My friend, he came in late last night. He said he heard all of the shooting that was going on. He said it lasted for at least 10 minutes. I said 10 minutes. I said it was long. It was all night because he was gone for the evening. He went to see his children for Christmas or for Christmas Eve or whatever. And I said, they've been doing this all evening. You caught the tail end of it. But this is the age that we live in where people can do what they want to do. And they think they can do it without consequences. That is why I said most of the people that have caused me problems, it hasn't been other white people. It hasn't been white people. It's been other so-called minorities. And then unfortunately, we wonder why we get the side eye a lot. But look at what's happening. You don't even know how to respect your own neighbors in a building by turning your radio down or at least taking the bass out of your radio so you're not disturbing somebody 5 doors down from you. That's disturbance. That's unrest. That's spiritual attack. And they will get retribution for that. Trust me. They will get retribution for that. And for their meddling. You know, most lesbians used to mind their business. What the fuck is going on now? What the fuck is up with these with these two? Most lesbians are really cool and they mind their business. Most gay people, we mind our business. Most real gay people, we mind our business and we don't fuck with people. We don't do no fucking with people. We ain't trying to be in everybody's business. We trying to stay in the underworld and just do what we do. I'm a gay spiritual being of the underworld. I don't fuck with people. But if you fuck with me, I'm going to drag you to motherfucking hell. And anybody that wants to get in it with you and defend you, I'm going to drag them too. Like Sophia said in The Color Purple, I love Harpo. God knows I do. But y'all know the rest of it. Before I let him beat me. I'm a gay spiritual being of the underworld and I don't fuck with nobody. And I'm not going to let nobody fuck with me. And if I find out you've been fucking with me spiritually or any other way, and I'm not trying to say I'm big and bad and all that, but if I find out or if I get an inkling in my spirit of who it is, not only will you wish that you'd never been born, not only will you wish that you had never been born, I will make it so that even your unalivement will also be full of torment. If you fuck with me, I don't go after innocent people. You fuck with me, I'm going to fuck with you. And these two bitches down this hall, they fuck with me. Not directly, they do it indirectly. And it's not just them. It's not just them bitches. It's several people in this community that I live in, if you can call it that anymore. This was a nice, beautiful, quiet building and neighborhood when I first moved in it many years ago. Then the more ethnic it became, and I don't give a fuck who it offends, the more ethnic it became, the more problematic it became. Drugs, drug addicts, weirdos, thieves, violent people, crazy people. But we're supposed to ignore that, right? We're supposed to sit back and keep adjusting to these types of motherfucking people like these two bitches down the fucking hall. We're supposed to adjust to their bullshit. That's just like if you move next door to somebody with roaches and mice, right? And it's only them. You're supposed to adjust to that person's filth and triflingness. You're supposed to adjust to that. No, them bitches ain't turned the music off. They got it still on. But I'm going to fix them in a minute. We're supposed to keep adjusting to all this weird bullshit that's going on in our world. And we're not supposed to have any questions. We're supposed to adjust to a man who gets out of prison after he killed 3 people, including a pregnant woman, back in the early 90s. He did 31 years and now they let him out. It's the same thing with the man that lives in my building. He killed 3 people in Texas. This motherfucker killed 3 people in Texas. But they only got him. Actually, I think he killed, wait a minute. He killed 3 people. No, I'm sorry. He killed 6 people in Texas. But they only got him for 3 bodies. He did 30 years. Why is this man out of jail? Why is he out of jail? Now, again, I don't know the circumstances. Sometimes shit happens or whatever the case may be. But what was this other person who I'm distantly related to, what was his excuse for murdering a pregnant woman? And you know, they did a lot of child sacrifice in a lot of the black on black killings here in DC in the early 90s and late 80s that they don't talk about. There was a lot of sacrifice of black women during those black on black criminal activities and murders of the late 80s and early 90s here in DC that they don't talk about. It was sacrificial, but they don't talk about that. So I keep asking the question, how is this man out of jail? And I know some people may get offended and say, well, you being hard on a brother. No, I ain't being hard on no motherfucking brother. He killed an innocent woman who was pregnant because he was mad at somebody else. It's just like that story of that guy they arrested back in 2015 for a serious sex crime. Then they let him out 7 or 8 years later. Then he went up to Baltimore and murdered that woman who owned her own tech company, a young woman who was only 26 years old. That story came out a couple of months ago and I did cover it. See, a lot of these men, they know how to fool the government. They know how to fool these prisons. They get into these behavioral modification programs and they pass all of the tests because they're smart, because they're psychopathic geniuses. Just because someone is smart or intelligent, it doesn't mean they deserve to be admired for it or celebrated for that. Some people are psychopathic geniuses and they need to be in their own category. They don't need to be celebrated. Some of them are very good at passing a lot of those tests and making people believe in the jail system that they are rehabilitated when they're really not. And then they release them on the unsuspecting public, and then we have to adjust to that bullshit. It's a man living in this building right now that assaulted a woman. The woman is dead now. She didn't die from the assault, but she's dead now. She died last year. She was a white woman. He's a black guy. I guess her life didn't matter because she's white, right? That is why we have to be careful when we say Black Lives Matter and all that stuff. You know why we have to be careful when we say that? Because who is that really including? Does that also include the predators and the people that harm the black people that harm other people? And that includes men and women who are predators, because men are not only, women are predators too. It's not just men. He assaulted this woman. She named him in the assault. But because she had health problems, they did not, some kind of way he got off on a technicality. And they ended up letting him move into the building with his girlfriend. The girlfriend is the one with the apartment. But they allowed her to add him to her fucking lease. They arrested him for assaulting this woman. They arrested him for it, but he got off on a technicality. She named him. But because he's in a building ran by black people, and the building has the majority of people that live in the building are black people, that woman was white, so her life didn't matter to them. What about her justice? What about her justice? Oh, she's white, so her life don't matter. So it's okay that he did what he did to her, right? That's okay. And this building that I live in, they have not given us not one piece of information. They have not said, well, he didn't do it. We know that this person was accused of it. After he was accused of that last year, damn near a year and a half ago, after he was accused of that, we had a big meeting in the building where the police came to talk to us about safety. All of that shit was in vain because they let him in the building anyway. That is why I ask, is this some type of government under what do they call it? Some type of government underworld experiment? CIA covert experiment? Is that what this is? Because that's what it's feeling like. Where they are allowing all of these criminals to flood normally peaceful communities. They are letting them get away with crimes. They're not prosecuting them anymore. They're letting them get away with crimes. We're in the purge. But I feel like this, if I go down, I'm taking a whole rack of motherfuckers with me. I'm taking a whole rack of motherfuckers with me if I go down. And my mother Don't live that far from me now. She live in the same neighborhood. And if any of them motherfuckers do anything to my mother, anything, y'all probably won't hear me on here no more. Y'all probably won't hear me on here anymore. I keep telling people, you don't know who's behind these avatars. And when I say behind these avatars, you don't know what type of spirit is behind the people behind the flesh. And that is why you got to be careful who you fluke with. But I'm beginning to believe that this is some type of covert CIA government experiment where they want to see people get harmed. That is why they're allowing and letting out all these criminals and weirdos and stuff like that. That is why. That is why they are slowly but surely going up the ladder to eventually make crack legal. You notice they don't trip off of nobody doing a crack anymore. They'll just put them in rehab and say, "Oh, well, we have to understand them. We have to keep adjusting to lifestyles that we shouldn't have to adjust to." It's like I said, somebody living next door to you, they got a bunch of roaches and mice, and instead of the office or the management making them fix that problem or getting on them, they want us to adjust to somebody else's bullshit all the time. And I'm not knocking nobody that may have an issue with that. It's not about that. Because sometimes it don't matter how clean you keep your place. Sometimes if other people have problems, or if you're in an area that has problems, you're going to have problems. So it's not about that. But I'm just making an analogy that why should we have to keep adjusting to other people's problems? It's not my fault that you don't have a place for you and your grown ass 40-some-year-old kids. To the woman who stole from the Red Cross. That's not our problem. I should not have to look at unauthorized people walking around in the building where I pay fucking rent. I shouldn't have to deal with that. You got 50-year-old motherfucking niggas living with their goddamn mama. 60-year-old fucking niggas living with their fucking mama. In fucking apartments. A bunch of bums who haven't amounted to anything in fucking life. Their mothers are 70 and damn near 80 fucking years old and y'all living off y'all fucking mother. And we're supposed to adjust to this type of shit? And you don't think that this is some type of CIA experiment? Or some type of dark spell work or mind control? And I'm not asking about that. I'm just looking at this bullshit that's going on. I know the answer already within myself. I don't have to, I'm not asking nobody for no answers, but I'm just having a conversation with you all. That this is the type of world that we live in. And I can imagine people who have to go into an office setting or any type of job setting and all the bullshit that you all have to put up with psychopaths. It's on the jobs too. They take out the good people and they replace them with psychopaths and weirdos and unqualified people and disqualified people. And they expect you to adjust to insanity. They expect us to keep adjusting to insanity. I'm not adjusting to anybody else's insanity. I'm not. I refuse to adjust to someone else's insanity. And you know what? You don't have to either. There are people that went to their graves believing that the ambiguous natures of a lot of leaders. I'm going to say the morally ambiguous natures of a lot of leaders. There are a lot of people that went to their graves believing that there was going to be change. And there has not been much change in the Black community. And then they tell us we should be grateful to struggle. We should be grateful to live in poverty. Can you believe that? They tell us that we should be grateful to struggle because at least you're alive. That's some bullshit. And that is why we have to reverse that bullshit and rebuke it. And remove it. Reverse, rebuke, remove. And reprogram your mind. Reprogram your spirit for prosperity and abundance. So you don't have to live around people like this. I ended up in this place because of my own misguided information at the time. I was young. But if I knew then what I know now, I would have never moved in this place. Never. And that is why there is nothing wrong with striving for home ownership. There's nothing wrong with that. People say, oh, well, I never really wanted to own a house. I never really wanted to do this. Fine, that's you. You ain't got to own one. That's you. That's your aspirations. If you want to live in an apartment for the rest of your life, you do that. But when you live in a house, you don't have to deal with this type of shit. You don't have to deal with this type of shit when you live in a house. You don't. Because you can pick and choose the energies that you want around you. You don't have to deal with no weird neighbor across the hall that's watching you like a creep all the time. You ain't got to deal with no weird neighbor. You speak to them and then they want to stop and try to, suck your goddamn energy and have a hole in when you don't want to talk to these motherfuckers. I don't want to talk to you. My facial expression should tell you that. And you still smiling up in my fucking face. If I say hi and keep it moving, that should tell you I don't like you. Why are you talking to me? Not that I think that I'm better than anybody, but I'm better than them. No respect, no responsibility, no accountability. And we're supposed to adjust to their insanity. We're supposed to adjust to thieves. We're supposed to adjust to murderers. We're supposed to adjust to men who assault women. We're supposed to adjust to all this bullshit, right? Right? We're supposed to adjust to all of this bullshit. We're supposed to adjust to all of this criminal activity that's being flooded into our neighborhoods, and we're not supposed to say anything, right? We're supposed to adjust to people disturbing our peace in our neighborhood by riding around in their cars with their noise, with their basses in their cars so loud that we can hear it in the house. We're supposed to adjust to this shit, right? And we're not supposed to say anything about it. Because if you say anything about it, you may end up dead. We're not supposed to say that in DC that they are orchestrating a lot of that crime. A lot of that crime is orchestrated. Another experiment. We're not supposed to say anything about that, right? We're not supposed to say that Bowser, the mayor of DC, that she's just a puppet put in place to ensure that their agenda goes through. And then when they're done with her, they're going to throw her back in whatever institution allegedly they got her out of. Because she's another one with problems. How is she supposed to be a lesbian, but yet she was trying to have sex with Christopher Barry, and he told me that himself. But that's allegedly, child. I'm going to say allegedly. She's supposed to be a lesbian, but she was trying to have sex with my friend, Christopher Barry. I'm talking about Mayor Bowser of D.C. But we're supposed to adjust to all of this craziness around us and all of this chaos and havoc around us. We're supposed to adjust. No motherfucking way. I don't adjust. I do work. And I'm doing work as we're talking. I'm doing work as we talking, child. As I'm sitting here talking, I got something brewing. I'm doing work now. And when I get off here, I'm going to do work. I'm going to be the change that they fucking need. And I'm going to make the change that we all need. Anyway, this is the occult view. I just had to rant. I had to rant. I just had to because I'm just fed up with a lot of the bullshit that they expect us to adjust to. We're supposed to adjust to insanity to appease these criminals and weirdos and all these other people. No fucking way. No fucking way. And that is why I do what I do. That is why I do what I do. And I don't give a fuck who don't fucking like it. Because they can't do a motherfucking thing about it. I don't care if it's that weak ass whack dentist I went to. I don't care if it's that them two bitches down the hall. I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's one of you whack ass motherfucking bitches that ran back to Christianity and trying to tell other people that they shouldn't practice witchcraft and voodoo. You lick the crevices of my motherfucking ass crack, bitch. You can't do a motherfucking thing about it. In the name of Jesus, since that's what y'all know. Fuck out of here with that bullshit. And those very same people, they are the same motherfucking people who are this, just like the people that I just described. They're all under some type of CIA experiment. Some type of covert CIA experiment. That is why they bring nothing but fear and havoc. They don't bring any enlightenment. They don't bring any knowledge. See, they're conscious. They're conscious, but they're not spiritual. You feel what I'm saying? See, conscious means you have a false sense of knowledge. Spiritual is when you rely on the spirit to give you wisdom and information. And these people are conscious. They have a false sense or a false narrative of knowledge that really does not fit. And that's why we're in the predicament that we're in now. Anyway, I've talked enough. I didn't mean to be on here this long. This is the occult view. If you watched this video this long, please hit the thumbs up. please hit the thumbs up. That really helps to get it in a certain algorithm, whatever the case may be. More people will see the video who need to see it, who are fed up just like I am. And I'm talking about black people. I'm talking about white people. I'm talking about Latin people. I'm talking about Mexican people. I'm talking about Indian people. I'm talking about anybody that is fed up with having to adjust to other people's fucking insanity. I don't care if it's another black person. I don't care if it's a white. If you got to adjust to somebody else's motherfucking insanity, hit the thumbs up if you know what I'm talking about. As a culture and society, we are tired of it. We are tired of it. We are tired of having to adjust to other people's spirituality, other people's motherfucking insanity, other people's motherfucking, oh, you shouldn't eat this, you shouldn't do that. We're tired of it. How about let us adjust to what we want to adjust to? How about leave us alone in our own spirit and frequency so we can be who the fuck we want to be without your motherfucking input? Shahrazad Ali, Umar Johnson, Andrew Tate, Steve Harvey. Not Steve Harvey. No, I didn't mean, no, not Steve Harvey. I'm sorry. No, not Steve Harvey. I take that back. I ain't got nothing against Steve Harvey. Not Steve Harvey. No. I take that back. TD Jakes. Fake ass Puff Daddy, Brother Love. Ain't that his name now? Brother Love. Just like when he dressed up as the Joker and telling that man to change his vibration. Change your vibration. Change your vibration. Sounding like a goddamn crackhead, allegedly. Telling somebody else to change their vibration, and this motherfucker has been accused of murder, rape, and all types of things. And he has the unmitigated fucking gall to tell somebody to change their fucking vibration. But this is the type of shit that we have to adjust to because they can do what they want to do. If you feel me on that, hit the fucking thumbs up. I don't care what race you are. Then they want to keep pitting black against white, white against black. They don't even want us to be able to have a conversation with each other. They want us to be afraid of white people because of what happened back then and a continuation of it based upon their hypnotic narrative. And they don't even want us to talk to each other. And I'm not talking about on no interracial sex fantasy bullshit. I mean, two human beings just having a conversation about the culture of our country and the world right now. A group of minds that are just saying, hey, listen, this shit is getting ridiculous. Because you know what, at the end of the motherfucking day, the key is white people struggling just like black people are. But they don't tell you that, do they? When I do my Instacart orders, the people that's bringing me the Instacart are Hispanics, white people, some black people, but they got to work and eat like everybody else. And they got to adjust to bullshit too. But then when they speak up about it, they're a Karen or a Darren or whatever they call the equivalent, you know, the male equivalent to a white Karen. But shit, anybody can be a motherfucking Karen. That the woman I was talking about down the hall, not the one that worked for the American Red Cross, but the one she married to, that bitch is a Karen, but she's just black. She's a Karen. Karens can come in all motherfucking colors. And if that offends you, unsub. I'm on one today, y'all. I'm on one. Told you this is my darker side. Sometimes I feel like the light, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I want to promote, and put out, and let me just say this. Sometimes I have to tap into the dark. This is my artwork. I'm an occultist, and this is my art. Some of you may get it, some of you may not. This is my art. This is what I do. This is my ministry. Sometimes I have to vent in the dark so I can go into the light and tell people how they don't have to be victims of their circumstances. This is how you get out of your circumstances that you don't like. You talk about it. You put it out into the universe. You expose it. And you tell the universe what you want. And the universe already knows on a subatomic and a subconscious level what you need and what you want. Anyway, this is the Occult View. That's all I have to say on this matter for right now.